Imagine you are standing behind a wall of glass. It's 4:55 in the morning. The air outside is freezing, but inside the vestibule, it's suffocating. On the other side of that glass, 2,000 people are staring at you. The parking lot lights reflect in their eyes like animals caught in headlights. They aren't smiling. They aren't chatting about their holiday plans. They are rocking back and forth. You can hear the glass pane whining. It's actually bending under the weight of the bodies pressing against it. You are Jadimitai Damur. You're a big guy, 6'5", 270 pounds. You were hired a week ago to stock shelves. But today, they put you here to be the dam holding back the flood. You look at the person next to you and whisper, "They're going to kill us." And then, a sound slices through the air. It's not a gunshot. It's sharper. It's the steel frame of the sliding doors, snapping in half. The doors didn't open. They detonated inward, and the horror that followed would change Black Friday forever. These are the 5 most disturbing Black Friday cases that actually happened. Let's return to that Walmart in Long Island, 2008. To understand this tragedy, you have to understand the energy. Police reports later described the crowd as volatile. This wasn't a line, it was a pressurized container. People had been camping out since the previous morning. They were cold, tired, and agitated. Chants of push, push, push were rhythmic, like a war drum. Inside, the employees were terrified. They formed a human chain, linking arms inside the entrance. Jadimitai Damur was right in the center. He was the anchor. At 5:03 a.m., the pressure became too much for physics to handle.
Will, get out,
When the doors shattered, the crowd didn't walk in. They didn't run in. They spilled in. Like water from a burst dam, the first row of people was shoved forward by the thousands behind them. Jadimitai was hit by the collective weight of the mob. He was thrown backward onto the hard linoleum floor. And this is where the story turns from tragic to monstrous. Once he was down, he disappeared. He was swallowed by a sea of winter boots. Witnesses said the sound wasn't just screaming. It was the wet thud of boots hitting a human body. Shoppers stepped on his legs, his stomach, his chest. Some tripped over him and, instead of helping, they cursed at the obstacle and scrambled up to keep running toward the electronics section. Jadimitai Damur gasped for air, but his lungs were being crushed under hundreds of pounds of pressure. He asphyxiated on the floor of his workplace. But the true horror came minutes later. Paramedics and police arrived, trying to save him. They attempted to clear the vestibule, and the crowd fought back. Shoppers refused to leave. They screamed at the officers. One man was recorded yelling, "I've been online since Friday morning. I'm not leaving without my TV." Even as a man lay dead at their feet, the impulse to consume was stronger than the impulse to mourn. They didn't see a tragedy. They saw an inconvenience. Jadimitai's death was caused by a mindless mob acting like a single, violent organism. It was chaos. But our next story is the complete opposite. This wasn't chaos. This was precision. This was a woman who looked at Black Friday not as a sale, but as a battlefield that needed to be cleared. Porter Ranch, California, 2011. A wealthy, quiet suburb of Los Angeles. Inside the Walmart. It was just after midnight. The store was packed, but the tension was focused on one specific location, a pallet of discounted Xbox 360s and Wii games. The crate was wrapped in industrial plastic, sitting in the center of the aisle like a trophy. A crowd of about 100 people had encircled it, waiting for the employees to cut the wrap. In that crowd stood a woman. She was small. She was dressed in normal clothes. To anyone looking, she was just a mom trying to get a gift. But she wasn't looking at the games. She was counting the people. She realized the math didn't work. Too many people. Not enough consoles. Most people would accept defeat. She decided to change the variables. Just as the employee sliced the plastic, the crowd lunged. The woman didn't reach for a box. She reached into her purse. She pulled out a canister of pepper spray. But she didn't spray it wildly in a panic. This is the detail that will stick with you. She used it tactically. She sprayed a wide, calculated arc directly at the faces of the people blocking her path. She created a corridor of pain. 20 people collapsed instantly. Children screamed as the chemical burned their eyes. Men fell to their knees, gagging. The aisle turned into a zone of absolute panic. And in the middle of that chaos, the woman moved. She walked through the coughing victims. She didn't run. She didn't look back. She calmly stepped over a crying child, grabbed the Xbox she wanted, and turned around. She walked to the register. She paid for her item. She walked out to her car. By the time the police secured the scene, she was gone, vanished into the night. She treated a Walmart like a tactical extraction mission, and she won. There is something deeply unsettling about violence in a place designed for children. Toys are us. Bright colors, the smell of plastic, the sound of jingles. Black Friday, 2008, Palm Desert. The store was filled with families. In the electronics section, two women began to argue. It started small. Maybe a look, maybe a shove. But the toxicity of the night escalated it instantly. They started screaming. And then, their partners stepped in. Alejandro Moreno and Joseph Ortiz. Neither man was willing to back down. Their egos were inflamed by the crowd, the noise, the pressure. In a normal world, this ends with a fistfight. But this was America on Black Friday. Both men reached into their waistbands. And in the middle of an aisle lined with stuffed animals and board games, they both drew guns. It happened in seconds. The shots echoed off the metal shelves like thunder trapped indoors. Shoppers dove for cover. Mothers threw their bodies over their children, shielding them from the bullets tearing through the cardboard boxes of toys. When the smoke cleared, the silence was deafening. Both men lay dead in the aisle. They had killed each other simultaneously. Two fathers bled out on the shiny, polished floor of a toy store. They didn't die defending their country. They didn't die protecting their families from a threat. They died because of a momentary burst of anger during a shopping trip. Two families destroyed forever. Our next story is the most heartbreaking. It proves that you don't need a weapon to kill someone. Sometimes, all you need is indifference. South Charleston, West Virginia, 2011. Walter Vance was 61 years old. He was a pharmacist, a man who had spent his life helping others with their health. He was at Target, shopping for Christmas decorations. Around midnight, amidst the swarm of shoppers, Walter's heart gave out. He collapsed. He fell face first onto the cold, hard tile. Now pause for a second. Imagine you see an old man fall down. What do? You stop. You help. But the people in that store were in a trance. The Black Friday trance. Shoppers didn't stop. They stepped over him. Witnesses reported that people gently nudged his body with their feet to move him aside so they could reach the products on the lower shelves. To them, Walter wasn't a dying father or husband. He was an obstacle. He was debris on the road to a bargain. For precious minutes, Walter lay dying, surrounded by hundreds of people, yet completely invisible. By the time an off-duty nurse finally stopped to help, it was too late. Walter Vance died on the floor of a Target. He wasn't killed by violence. He was killed by the sheer coldness of human greed. We end our list outside, because sometimes the most dangerous territory isn't the store itself. It's the rectangle of asphalt you need to park your car. Reno, Nevada, 2016, Thanksgiving night. A 33-year-old man was driving through the Walmart parking lot. The lot was a gridlock of frustration. Exhaust fumes, honking horns, blinding high beams. He saw a spot open up near the entrance. The Holy Grail. He signaled. He turned. But another driver wanted it too. There was no fistfight, no long argument. The other driver pulled out a gun and fired. The 33-year-old victim was shot in the chest. He collapsed onto the wet pavement, just yards away from the sliding doors where people were rushing in to buy TVs. The shooter sped off. The victim died there, alone in the dark. He died for a parking spot. And the most chilling part? As the police taped off the body, cars continued to circle the lot. People rolled down their windows to ask officers if the store was still open. The sale continued. None of the people in these stories woke up that morning thinking it was their last day. But there is something about this holiday. The artificial scarcity, the ticking clock, the mob mentality that strips away our humanity. It turns neighbors into enemies. It turns shoppers into predators. True horror isn't about ghosts or monsters under the bed. True horror is realizing that under the right pressure, the ordinary person standing next to you in line stops being human.